Hello. Today we'll discuss the concepts of basic nutrition and cultural considerations. Chapter 26. There will be 3 key points discussed during today's presentation. Lesson 26.1 will discuss the overview of the GI system and nutritional needs. Lesson 26.2 will discuss the function of nutrients. And finally, in Lesson 26.3, we'll discuss nutrition influences. Overview of the GI system and nutritional needs. The objectives in this section will be covering the review of the structure and function of the gastrointestinal system, also known as the GI system. Use the components of the United States Department of Agriculture, also known as USDA, MyPlate website to assist patients in planning their diets. Also, you'll learn to list medical conditions that may occur as a result of protein, calorie, vitamin, or mineral deficiency or excess. In a clinical practice, you'll be able to identify patients at risk for nutritional deficits. Adequate nutrition begins with good dental hygiene and periodontal health and ends with the appropriate elimination and sanitation. The GI system is composed of the mouth, tongue, teeth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. Please see figure 26.1 on page 459 in your text. Accessory organs include the salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Here is the figure 26.1, which can be found on in your textbook on page 459. The mouth is the first part of the digestive tract. It contains the teeth and tongue, and it receives secretions from the salivary glands. Adults have 32 permanent teeth. Teeth are categorized as incisors, cuspids, bicuspids, and molars. Each individual must have the capacity to chew. If not, changes need to be made to the food consistency to remedy the situation. The mouth receives food and breaks it down into smaller pieces. It mixes food with saliva and starts the digestive process. The parotid glands are the largest of the salivary glands. One is located on each side of the body, anterior and inferior to the ear. The pharynx is a 5-year muscular passageway that connects the nasal and oral cavities to the larynx and esophagus. Food is forced into the pharynx by the tongue. The esophagus is a collapsible muscular tube about 20 centimeters long. It is the passageway for movement of food to the stomach. The stomach is located in the upper left quadrant of the abdomen. The adult stomach has an average of a capacity of 1.5 liters. It has two sphincters. It is a temporary storage place for food. It mixes food with digestive juices. It changes food into a semi-liquid state. It begins the digestion of proteins, and it absorbs vitamin B12. The small intestine includes the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. It is 2.5 centimeters in diameter and 6 meters long. It mixes food with secretions from the liver and pancreas. It finishes digestion and absorbs nutrients. The large intestine includes the cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, the rectum, and anus. It is about 2.5 to 7 centimeters in diameter and 1.5 meters long. It absorbs fluid and electrolytes and eliminates waste products. The liver is a large, reddish-brown organ located in the upper right quadrant of the abdomen. The gallbladder is a pear-shaped sac that is attached to the surface of the liver by the cystic duct. The liver and gallbladder concentrate, store, and secrete bile into the duodenum. The pancreas is a flat, elongated organ located along the posterior abdomen wall. The head of the pancreas is on the right side of the curve of the duodenum. The tail is on the left side next to the spleen. The pancreas secretes digestive juices and produces insulin. Changes in the digestive system that occur with aging. Dental caries and tooth loss. This decreases a person's ability to chew food. Decreased gag reflex results in increased risk for aspiration. And also a decrease in sense of taste. This may lead to a loss of appetite. Additional changes in the digestive system that occur with aging. There's a decrease of muscle tone at the sphincters, which also will result in a risk for esophageal reflux, also known as gastric esophageal reflux or GERD. There's a decrease in gastric secretions, which may interfere with digestion of food, and a decrease in peristalsis, which will result in an increased risk for constipation. Metabolism. This is a process in which large molecules are broken down into smaller molecules. It makes energy available to the organisms. It enables absorbed nutrients to enter the bloodstream following digestion. Digestion converts food into chemical substances such as proteins and simple sugars to be used by the body for energy production and cellular metabolism. The MyPlate was developed by the USDA Centers for Nutrition and Promotion to promote healthy diets for all Americans. The food guidance system shows the 5 food groups necessary for good nutrition and explains the use for each component. You can find a copy of the MyPlate guide in your textbook on page 460, figure 26.2. The USDA MyPlate emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fat-free or low-fat milk and milk products. It includes lean meats, poultry, fish, beans, eggs, and nuts. It is low in saturated fats, trans fats, cholesterol, sodium, and added sugars. A constant supply of protein is essential to meet the body's need to build and replace tissues and cells. During times of illness and after surgery, injuries, burns, or blood loss, more protein is required to help rebuild cells and tissues. Protein plays a role in maintaining fluid balance and acid-base balance, transporting nutrients, and producing antibodies, enzymes, and hormones. Protein is also a source of energy for the body. It supplies 4 calories per gram. It is composed of amino acids. 9 amino acids are considered essential amino acids because they must be consumed through food sources. The non-essential amino acids are important to health but can be synthesized by the healthy, well-nourished body. The liver can manufacture 11 amino acids. These are considered to be non-essential amino acids. Here are some food sources of protein. Animal sources include red meats, eggs, milk, and milk products, poultry, fish. They are complete or high-quality protein sources. Plant sources are grains, legumes, and most vegetables. These are incomplete or low-quality protein sources. Dietary reference intakes, also DRI, have been developed by the U.S. National Academy of Sciences to provide guidance for estimating nutrient intakes for planning and evaluating diets of healthy people. Healthy adults require 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. The average DRI is 46 to 56 grams of protein per day for the healthy adult. This can be achieved through the combination of meat and plant sources. Protein intake should be approximately 10 to 15% of the total daily calorie. The typical American diet is high in protein. A serving of protein is, for example, a 3-ounce portion of meat or a serving of beans equivalent to a half a cup of dry beans. The DRI for protein may vary depending on activity level, state of health, and availability of protein food sources. Extreme protein deficiencies result in the conditions of marasmus and kwashiorkor. Marasmus is a form of protein energy and nutrient malnutrition. Kwashiorkor is a condition occurring in infants and young children soon after weaning from breast milk. The average American diet supplies 1.5 to 2 times of the DRG for protein. Athletes and very active individuals may consume higher levels of protein. High protein diets for people who do not require a protein increase may be stressful to the liver and kidneys. The kidneys must get rid of the body of excess waste products resulting from an increased protein intake. Protein is metabolized by the liver. Liver function may be strained with excess load of protein to metabolize. High protein diets, especially for meat sources, can lead to excess fat in the diet. High fat diets are associated with increased risk of obesity, heart disease, and certain types of cancers. Many people have become vegetarians as a means to maintain desired weight and decrease the amount of animal fat intake in their diet. Cultural, religious, and personal factors also influence a person's choice of a vegetarian diet. The primary types of vegetarian diets are as follows. Lacto-ovo vegetarian, which includes dairy products, eggs, and plant foods. Lacto-vegetarian, eggs are excluded, dairy products and plant foods are included. And the vegan diet, all animal food sources, including honey, are excluded. Well-planned vegetarian diet offers health benefits. It decreases risk of heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. Vegans may have a diet deficient in the following nutrients: vitamin B6, B12, iron, zinc, riboflavin, and vitamin D. Now we're going to move on to the next section, 26.2. Here we're going to discuss the functions of nutrients. The objectives covered in this section will be, we'll discuss the functions of proteins, carbohydrate, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water in the body. And also identify food sources of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Carbohydrates are the body's main source of energy. Carbohydrates should make up 60% of the daily caloric intake. Each gram of carbohydrate supplies 4 calories. The three major forms of carbohydrates are simple carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, and fiber. Simple carbohydrates, glucose is the metabolized form of the sugar in the body. It is found in table sugars, sucrose, fruit sugars, fructose, and milk sugars, lactulose. Glucose is chemically nearly identical to dextrose. These words are used interchangeably. All these simple carbohydrates are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream as a ready source for energy for the cells. It causes a quick rise in the serum glucose. Complex carbohydrates such as breads, pastas, cereals, and rice. Also potatoes. They are broken down into simple sugars for digestion, absorption, and are used by the body. Starches provide a more consistent blood glucose level than simple sugars. Experts recommend that 85 to 95% of carbohydrates consumed should be complex and very little should be simple sugars. Dietary fiber is the portion of carbohydrates that cannot be broken down by the intestinal enzymes and juices. Fiber passes through the small intestine and colon undigested. Food sources of fiber include whole grain cereals and the skins of fruits, vegetables, and legumes. Fiber increases bulk in the stool, leading to good intestinal function and elimination. The presence of fiber in the colon also is beneficial in delaying absorption of carbohydrates and cholesterol from the intestine. This delay may be beneficial to diabetic patients by increasing blood glucose levels. Some properties of fiber may also decrease absorption of fat. Health experts recommend 21 to 38 grams of fiber per day for adults. What are some food sources of fiber? Fruits, as listed here, are apples, bananas, oranges, grapefruits, cantaloupes, and strawberries. Vegetables include green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, celery, corn, potatoes with the skin, as well as sweet potato. Grains and cereals include breads, all bran, oatmeal, and shredded wheat. Legumes include beans such as kidney, pinto, lima, and black beans. Fats, or lipids. Fat is an essential nutrient, believe it or not. Fat supplies a concentrated form of energy. It also spares protein from being burned for energy. Fat supplies 9 calories per gram consumed. Other functions of fat include it provides a source of fatty acids, adds flavor to foods to contribute to texture, dissolves and transports fat-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble phytonutrients. It provides insulation and controls body temperature. It makes food smell appetizing. It cushions and protects organs, facilitates transmission of nerve impulses, as well as gives a feeling of fullness after eating. Fats are made up of fatty acids and glycerol, called triglycerides. Fatty acids are classified as either saturated or unsaturated fats. This depends on the amount of hydrogen they contain. Fats that are liquid at room temperature are called oils. Most oils are unsaturated fats. For example, olive oil, corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, soybean oils, and canola oils. These examples can be found in your text on page 466. Omega-3 fatty acids found in foods such as salmon, trout, sardines, tuna, etc. is the most unsaturated form of fatty acid. These foods should also be included to the diet as sources of unsaturated fat. What are vitamins? Vitamins are organic compounds essential to proper function of the body. They are best consumed through food sources. However, vitamin supplements can provide the nutrients needed. Vitamins are classified as fat-soluble or water-soluble. Water-soluble vitamins are easily absorbed into the bloodstream for use by the body. Fat-soluble vitamins are absorbed into the small intestine, the same as other fats, by action of bile in the duodenum, and then they are stored into the liver. Fat-soluble vitamins include vitamins A, D, E, and K. These vitamins, because they are stored in the body, can cause toxic effects if ingested in excessive quantities. Guidelines for intake of vitamin D can be found in table 26.3 in your textbook on page 467. Minerals are inorganic substances contained in animals and plants. They are essential for metabolism and cellular function. Minerals are categorized as major minerals, also called macro minerals, or trace minerals, microminerals. The major minerals are calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine. Selected foods with high sodium content are listed in table 26.5 in your textbook. Trace minerals are iron, copper, iodine, manganese, cobalt, zinc, molybdenum, molybdenum, selenium, fluoride, and chromium. Minerals are necessary for proper muscle and nerve function, and they act as catalysts for many cellular functions. Water is the most essential of all nutrients. The adult body is 50 to 60% water by weight. The proportion of water depends on body composition, age, bone density, body weight, and hormone status. The water requirement for adult is approximately 1 ml per calorie of intake. Water requirements are increased for patients who are immobile, have a fever, or have diarrhea. General rule intake needs to be equal to the recorded output plus 500 mLs. All right, we're going to slow it down here and give you all the opportunity to look at this question and answer it on your own. I'd like for you to take this time to read the question thoroughly and in the shared notes put your response to this question number 1. Which nutrient is involved in all the body's chemical processes and the most essential of all the nutrients? We just said this. I just presented this information to you. So which nutrient is the most essential of all nutrients listed here below? Is it water, protein, sodium, or sugars? The answer is water. The reason for this is water is the most essential of all nutrients. Again, the adult body is 50 to 60% by water weight. It is used in every body process for digestion, to absorption, to elimination, to secretions. Question 2. Please post your response to this question under the Shared Notes tab. All of the following are functions of fats, except they provide source of fatty acids, add flavors to food, make food smell appetizing, or provides a quick source of protein. Which one is not a function of fat here? The answer is 4. Carbohydrates provide a quick source of energy. Fats can be burned as a source of energy, but they are not quick. They're not a quick source of energy and are primarily used when carbohydrates are not available. Third question. Again, for question number 3, place your response under the Shared Notes section. Liz has an Orthodox Jewish patient. When ordering her diet, it is important to remember that 1. Pork and pork products are allowed. 2. No alcohol is permitted. 3. Shellfish are allowed. 4. Meat and milk may not be mixed or eaten at the same time of the meal. At the same meal. The answer is 4. In the Jewish faith, meat and milk may not be eaten at the same meal. Pork products and shellfish are not allowed. Alcohol is allowed in the Jewish faith. Lesson 26.3, Nutrition Influences. The objectives here would be you'll be able to identify a variety of factors that influence nutrition. Explore cultural influences on nutrition practices. And compare nutritional needs throughout life stages. Clinical practice. Hopefully in the clinical practice you'll be able to identify patients at risk for nutritional deficits. Complete a nutritional assessment on an assigned patient. Use therapeutic communication with a patient while discussing needed nutritional modifications. And develop a patient education plan for a prescribed therapeutic diet. To help patients reach optimal nutritional state, you must consider a variety of factors that may influence an individual's ability to meet nutritional needs. A dietitian should be consulted if malnutrition or risk of malnutrition is suspected. Here are some factors that influence nutrition. Age, such as infants. Infants are dependent on others to meet their nutritional needs. Adolescents are strongly influenced by their peers. Food choices are often fast foods and pizza varieties. Older adults may be at risk for inadequate nutrition because of income limits, loneliness, difficulties obtaining or preparing food. Other factors include illnesses, emotional status, economic status, religions, cultures, and food safety. Cultural influences on nutrition. The African American diet closely resembles food preferences of the southern regions of the United States. African and West Indian influences are also prevalent, as evident by inclusion of foods such as okra, black-eyed peas, and peanuts and peanut products in the diet. Typical foods in the traditional African American diet include a variety of greens, dried beans, cornbread, sweet potatoes, and pork, catfish, and chicken. These preferences often contribute to high fat, sugar, and salt content in the traditional African American diet. The Hispanic population is one of the most fastest growing in the United States. Several groups are represented, including Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, and Cubans. The Hispanic diet is high in carbohydrates such as beans, rice, corn, and tortillas. Meats and meat dishes are heavily seasoned and spicy. The diet can be high in fat because of the use of lard in the preparation of fried foods. Desserts are very sweet and may be prepared with syrup-like sauces. Preferences for fried foods lead to high fat in the diet. The popularity of Asian American cuisine is evident throughout the United States. The traditional Asian diet is high in carbohydrates and vegetables and low in meat and fish. Mung beans and soybeans and products such as sprouts are also used. Vegetables are rarely eaten raw. They are stir-fried with small amounts of added meats and served with rice or noodles. The practice of adding MSG to enhance flavor has decreased. However, dishes may still have a high sodium and high fat content. Middle Eastern Americans. Food preferences among the Middle Eastern cultures include fermented dairy products such as yogurt, meats, grains in the form of wheat or rice at each meal, fresh fruits and vegetables. Food preparations include grilling, frying, grinding, and stewing. You can find examples of cultural influences on nutrition in your chapter 26 on page 473. Nutrition counseling. The nurse and dietitian can help patients modify diets to meet nutritional requirements. Dietary counseling should include modifications of the culture's tradition diet to accomplish a more healthy composition and preparation while maintaining the diet's basic components. Meals can be made healthier by teaching patients to prepare food with less fat and sodium. Use of herbal low-sodium seasoning can maintain the desired flavor. A summary of food patterns of American culture groups can be found in your book and in the table 26.7. Nutritional needs throughout the lifespan. The first year of life marks the fastest growth period in the human development. By 6 months of age, the birth weight of the normal newborn should have doubled. By the end of the first year, the birth weight should have tripled. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that the infant can be breastfed or receive breast milk for the first full year of life. Emphasis on the importance of breastfeeding is a major component of prenatal education programs. In addition to providing complete nutrition, breast milk also provides immunity to most childhood diseases through the first few months of life. The first breast milk is called colostrum. Colostrum also contributes to passage of meconium stool and growth of normal bacterial flora in the bowel. Within 7 to 10 days of delivery, the composition of breast milk changes. Protein and fat-soluble vitamins content decreases and water-soluble vitamin fats and calorie increases. By the 14th day, mature milk is produced. Breast milk rarely causes allergic responses in infants. Infant formulas are similar in composition to breast milk. However, nutrients in human milk are much more easily digested and absorbed when compared to formulas. Solid foods can be introduced to the child in their diet between 4 to 6 months of age. Solid foods should be introduced gradually and one item at a time. During the toddler and preschool years, ages 2 to 5 years old, the growth rate tends to level off. The child consumes less milk and increases intake of solid foods. Toddler food choices may change frequently. They seem to have a hearty appetite at times and then show lack of appetite over time. Provide them with small servings. Offer foods that are easy to chew. Avoid combination foods. Toddlers prefer to eat single item foods that do not touch each other on the plate. Try colorful foods as well. Additional guidelines to encourage toddlers and preschoolers to eat. Provide them with a pleasant environment at mealtimes. Provide plates and utensils in a size that they can easily handle. Use colorful dishes or dishes that contain favorite characters. And also avoid forcing a child to eat. School-age children may be influenced by their peer groups when making food choices. They are susceptible to advertisement for fast foods that show toys as prizes and children in play areas when eating. Children at this age may desire sweets, non-nutritious food such as sodas, cake, candy, and ice cream. Parents and caregivers should serve as a role model for their children. Should ensure that the child has a well-balanced breakfast before school. Also provides them with nutritional after-school snack. Because of high calorie and high sodium preferences of many children, obesity is becoming a health issue during the school-age years. Adolescence. Many physiological changes occur during the adolescent years. Of these changes, the growth spurt and social and emotional changes related to puberty have great effects on nutritional and eating habits. Adolescents tend to consume many fast foods from either fast food restaurants or vending machines. Fast food restaurants also serve as a social gathering place for many adolescents. During the growth spurt, the body requires more calories and nutrients such as vitamin B, calcium, and iron. Adolescent girls require an increased level of iron after the menstrual cycle begins. Calcium and vitamin D are also very important for adolescents to prevent further osteoporosis because The future bone health depends greatly on the bone disposition for early adolescence. Many pediatricians recommend considering a calcium supplement. Adolescent girls are very aware of their appearance. Concern about weight may lead to eating disorders, resulting in inadequate calories and nutrition for growth. Adults. Child rearing, work, and family responsibilities influence the eating habits of most adults. Many adults rely on fast foods or convenience foods to meet their nutritional needs. Studies have shown that adults eat many of their meals, especially breakfast and lunch, from fast food restaurants. Medical problems such as obesity and hypertension are prevalent during early and mid-adulthood. This can attribute to stress, poor eating habits, and lack of exercise. The older adults are the group most at risk for inadequate nutrition. Many factors influence their eating habits of older adults. Factors include economic status, physical disabilities, chronic diseases, access to food sources, and physiologic changes. Nutrient requirements do not change with aging, except in the presence of disease or illnesses, although calorie needs decrease each decade after the age of 50. Physical activities include strength training and flexibility activities should be encouraged to promote muscle mass, maintain functional abilities, and promote appetite and a sense of well-being. Many older adults have lost spouses and friends through deaths. Eating alone is unpleasant for many individuals. If at all possible, try to arrange for companionship for patients or older adults during meals, such as a sitter or an attendant. Some older adults have limited income and also may have limited food choices. Programs are available such as Meals on Wheels, supplemental nutritional programs, and community food banks. Take a look at figure 26.4 in your book regarding Meals on Wheels that are offered to patients in the community or individuals in the community. Question 4. Please place or post your response under the Share Notes section. Sandy works in a pediatrician's office. A mother who brings in her 9-month-old baby is asking nutrition advice and what is an appropriate weight would be for her baby, her infant. Which statement below is appropriate? Most babies should double their weight by the end of the first year. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends breastfeeding for the first 6 months. Nutrients found in formula are easier to digest for babies than breast milk. Or most babies double their weight by 6 months and triple it by 1 year. Which response below is appropriate? The answer here is 4. Most babies double their weight by 6 months and triple it by 1 year. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommend breastfeeding for 1 year, not 6 months. And then, nutrients found in breast milk are easier to digest than formula. Question 5. Please post your response under Shared Notes. Ashley's patient has a BMI or body mass index of 16.5 for an adult male. This would mean her patient is 1. Underweight, 2. Overweight, 3. In the recommended range, or 4. Morbidly obese. The answer here is underweight, number 1. The recommended range for BMI is 18.5 to 24.9. A BMI less than 18.1 is considered underweight. A BMI between 25 and 29.9 is overweight, and more than 30 is considered obese. A BMI greater than 40 is considered morbidly obese. The content covered in this question regarding body mass index is found in Chapter 26, page 477. Thank you. So that would conclude our coverage for Chapter 26. In this presentation, we covered several objectives. We were able to review the structure and function of the GI system, use the components of the USDA MyPlate website to assist patients in planning their diets, list medical conditions that may occur because of protein, calorie, vitamin, and mineral deficiencies or excess. We've discussed the functions of protein, carbohydrate, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water in the human body. We've identified food sources such as protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals. We've also identified a variety of factors that influence nutrition. We've explored cultural influences and nutritional practices and compared nutritional needs throughout life stages. Thank you very much. That concludes our presentation, Chapter 26.